Welcome to another episode of Latodio, Book in Minutes, Insights for Life. We're so glad you're here with us today. In this episode, we're exploring Lean In by Sheryl Sandberg, a book that has inspired millions of people, especially women, to challenge the way they think about their careers, leadership, and personal growth. In today's world, where the conversation about gender equality and leadership is more important than ever, Lean In is more relevant than ever. Whether you're just starting your career looking to make a big move, or simply trying to make sense of the challenges and opportunities around you, this book offers valuable insights into how you can break through barriers, claim your space, and lead with confidence. Over the course of this episode, we'll break down the book in a way that's easy to digest with a chapter-by-chapter run-through of the key concepts and stories. You'll learn why it's important to sit at the table, how to build a career that works for you, and how supporting each other as women and men is crucial for success. We'll also highlight the key takeaways from Lean In that can truly change the way you approach your career and life. So, whether you're here to discover new strategies for your personal growth or looking to dive into a book that could change your perspective on work and leadership, this episode has something for everyone. Let's get started. Lean In, Women, Work, and the Will to Lead by Sheryl Sandberg is a groundbreaking book that examines the challenges women face in the workplace and offers practical advice for achieving leadership roles. Written by Facebook's former COO, Sandberg draws on both personal experiences and extensive research to highlight the gender disparities that persist in professional environments. At its core, Lean In encourages women to take charge of their careers, seek out opportunities, and assert themselves in ways that have often been discouraged by society. Sandberg tackles issues like imposter syndrome, unconscious bias, and the importance of mentorship, while advocating for both personal empowerment and systemic change. The book is not just a call to action for women, but for society as a whole to rethink the structures and attitudes that hinder gender equality in leadership. Lean In has had a significant impact since its publication, sparking global conversations about women's roles in business, fostering mentorship networks, and inspiring movements for workplace equality. In a world where women continue to be underrepresented in leadership positions, Lean In offers a powerful message. Women must not only strive to break the glass ceiling, but also lean into their ambitions and advocate for themselves. Chapter 1: Internalizing the Revolution. In the opening chapter, Sheryl Sandberg starts by highlighting the profound shift needed in society's expectations of women in the workplace. She emphasizes that women hold themselves back in ways that men generally don't, like doubting their abilities and not negotiating for better opportunities. This chapter introduces the idea of leaning in, which is the concept of taking risks, seizing opportunities, and pushing through self-doubt. One story she shares is about her own career, where she didn't always feel confident but had to fight against that voice telling her she wasn't qualified. The lesson here is that women often underestimate their capabilities. Sandberg argues that internal barriers like fear or imposter syndrome are just as harmful as external barriers, and we need to push ourselves beyond them. Chapter 2: Sit at the Table. This chapter is about claiming a seat at the table, both literally and metaphorically. Sandberg recalls early career experiences where she was often the only woman in the room and found herself sitting at the edges, physically and psychologically. She shares a powerful moment at a meeting where she realized that men are often more confident about their right to be in leadership spaces, whereas women are more likely to second-guess themselves. The key lesson here is that women need to actively assert their presence, speak up, and show that they belong. Sandberg encourages women to sit at the table with confidence. Don't wait for an invitation or for someone to tell you you're worthy. Own the space you're in. Chapter 3: Success and Likability. This chapter tackles the double bind women face. If they are successful, they're often seen as unlikable. Sandberg explains that while men's success is often praised, women's success is sometimes viewed negatively, seen as bossy or aggressive. She shares her own experiences of being judged for being assertive, even though men in similar positions aren't subject to the same scrutiny. The important takeaway here is that women need to navigate this fine line between being successful and remaining likable. While it's impossible to please everyone, Sandberg argues that women shouldn't feel the need to downplay their strengths just to fit into societal expectations. Being liked shouldn't be a prerequisite for success. Chapter 4. Make your partner a real partner. Here, Sandberg dives into the dynamics of relationships and how the division of labor at home often affects women's careers. She uses her own marriage as an example, where she and her husband made a conscious effort to share responsibilities equally, which helped her balance both her demanding job and her family life. The key concept here is that women can't lean in at work if they're doing the majority of the work at home. Sandberg encourages couples to have honest conversations about division of household labor and to truly share responsibilities. When both partners are equally invested, it frees up time and energy for the woman to pursue her career ambitions. Chapter 5. Are you my mentor? This chapter explores the importance of mentorship and sponsorship. Sandberg explains that while mentorship can be helpful, having a sponsor, a person who actively champions your career, can be even more beneficial. She shares a story about how her mentor, Larry Summers, helped her career by advocating for her even when she wasn't in the room. The lesson here is that women need both mentors and sponsors, but they often need sponsors who will go to bat for them in powerful circles. Sandberg urges women not to wait for mentorship to come to them, but to seek it out and to also be willing to step up as sponsors for others. Chapter 6. The Myth of Doing It All. In this chapter, Sandberg addresses the unrealistic expectation that women should be able to do everything: succeed at work, manage a perfect home, raise perfect children, and be the perfect partner. She tells the story of a friend who left her job to be a stay-at-home mom, only to later feel unfulfilled and lost. Sandberg reminds readers that it's okay to set boundaries and prioritize. The key takeaway is that women need to redefine what doing it all means. It's impossible to excel at everything at once, so making choices about where to focus energy is essential. This also ties into the need for supportive workplaces that recognize the different demands women face. Chapter 7. Don't leave before you leave. This chapter is about the tendency of women to start holding back before they even have children or other family commitments. Sandberg calls this leaning back before you lean back, when women start taking a step back from their careers because they anticipate needing to prioritize family in the future. She argues that women should lean into their careers until the moment they actually need to step back. Sandberg shares examples of women who began to hold back from their careers long before they had children, creating unnecessary roadblocks. The lesson here is to avoid second-guessing your future and to stay engaged and ambitious until you truly face a life shift. Chapter 8. Make your work work for you. In this chapter, Sandberg talks about how women can design their careers in ways that support both professional success and personal fulfillment. She discusses strategies like negotiating flexible work hours or creating an environment that helps them balance both their career and home life. The central idea is that women don't have to fit into a traditional 9 to 5 mold to be successful. Flexible work options, such as remote work or altered hours, can enable women to thrive professionally without sacrificing personal well-being. Chapter 9. This is the revolution. In the final chapter, Sandberg reflects on the broader societal changes needed to ensure gender equality in leadership. She acknowledges the importance of having supportive workplaces and policies, but stresses that individual action is just as crucial. She calls on both men and women to be allies and help drive this change. Sandberg ends with a hopeful message that while the road ahead is long, women's increasing participation in the workforce and leadership roles is an ongoing revolution. She encourages women to support each other and to keep pushing for change. Each chapter of Lean In is filled with powerful lessons on leadership, confidence, and the need for structural change. Sandberg invites women to take ownership of their careers while simultaneously challenging societal norms that hold them back. The book is an empowering call to action, encouraging women to lean in, be bold, and claim the leadership roles they deserve. Here are the main takeaways from Lean In. 1. Sit at the table. Think of it this way. If you're always sitting at the edge of a room, you're probably not going to be noticed. Sandberg talks about how women often sit at the table, in meetings, in career opportunities, but not literally. They tend to be less assertive, shrinking back, or doubting their worth. She uses her own career experiences as an example. She often found herself doubting if she belonged in high-level meetings. The takeaway? Take up space. Don't wait to be invited to the table. Own your place in professional settings and speak up even if you don't feel 100% confident. 2. Success and likability. The double standard. This is a big one. Women often face a double standard in leadership roles. If you're too assertive, you're seen as bossy or unlikable. Sandberg shares how she's been criticized for being too aggressive in meetings, while men in the same situation aren't judged as harshly. The lesson here? It's okay not to be liked all the time. If you're doing your job well, you don't have to please everyone. 3. Don't leave before you leave. This one really made me think. Sandberg talks about how women sometimes start holding back in their careers long before they have to. They anticipate needing to prioritize family or other responsibilities, so they slow down or even step back from ambitious projects before they actually need to. She calls this leaning back before you lean back. The key takeaway? Don't assume you have to slow down before you need to. You might decide to step back from your career one day, but until that day comes, keep pushing forward. 4. Make your partner a real partner. Balancing work and home life is tough, but it's way easier when both partners share the load. Sandberg talks about how she and her husband worked hard to divide household responsibilities equally, allowing both of them to thrive professionally and personally. She says that you can't lean in at work if you're carrying the bulk of responsibilities at home. The practical takeaway? You need a partner who truly shares responsibilities, whether at home or at work. If your partner doesn't pitch in equally, it's going to be harder for you to push forward in your career. 5. Seek out mentorship and sponsorship. Mentorship is great, but sponsorship is where the real impact happens. Sandberg shares how her mentor, Larry Summers, didn't just offer advice. He actively advocated for her career, pushing her into key opportunities. The difference is that a mentor gives advice, but a sponsor pushes you into the spotlight and speaks on your behalf. Takeaway? Find sponsors who will champion your career. Don't just look for someone to advise you. Find someone who will actively advocate for you in rooms you're not in. 6. Set boundaries and redefine doing it all. Here's the reality. You can't do it all. Sandberg talks about the unrealistic expectation that women should excel at their careers, be supermom, and handle everything else perfectly. She stresses the importance of setting boundaries and not feeling guilty about it. The takeaway? You don't have to be perfect. It's okay to say no to some things, and it's okay to delegate. 7. Encourage other women and create a supportive network. One of the most powerful messages in Lean In is that women need to support each other. Sandberg talks about how we often hold ourselves back from helping other women because of competition or fear of being judged. But when women lift each other up, they all succeed. Takeaway: help other women rise, whether it's through mentorship, sharing resources, or just offering encouragement. Supporting each other is essential for progress. 8. Lean into the work you love. Lastly, Sandberg talks about how important it is to be passionate about your work. You have to lean into the roles that energize you, even if they come with challenges or risks. She shares that finding a career you love is essential for long-term success and satisfaction. The lesson? Don't settle. Find the work that excites you and pursue it with everything you've got. These are just a few of the big ideas from Lean In. It's not about doing everything perfectly. It's about being intentional in your career, advocating for yourself, and building a supportive community around you. Thanks for listening to this episode of Latodio. We hope you enjoyed exploring today's book with us. If you're craving more insightful summaries and want to stay inspired, be sure to hit the follow button and subscribe wherever you're listening. We release fresh episodes regularly, so join us next time as we explore another impactful read. We'll link to the book in the description. Until next time, keep listening, learning, and growing with Latodio.